have a total net worth, and now with the increase, it'll be well over $10 billion. I'm not doing that to brag, because you know what? I don't have to brag. I don't have to, believe it or not.
Did you know some politicians earn more in retirement than an average worker makes in their entire life? And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We all know politicians make big decisions. But have you ever wondered just how much money they make? Some say they're overpaid, while others are mostly underpaid. But it's way more than just a paycheck. From luxury perks to secret bonuses, these additional compensations can vary significantly across different countries and positions. However, understanding how politicians are paid around the world can be quite complex. For instance, in the United States, members of Congress receive not only substantial salaries, but also access to exclusive retirement plans. While the average Social Security recipient receives about $15,000 annually, a retired member of Congress with 20 years of service can receive around $59,000 each year in pension benefits. And it's not just about salaries. Some politicians basically live like VIPs. Private lounges, first-class flights. It's like getting surprise upgrades just for being in office. Take Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. Qantas loves him so much. They've given him free flight upgrades, a perk not available to all members of the airline's exclusive Chairman's Lounge. Wish we all had that kind of frequent flyer status, right? And just when you think the benefits end after retirement, nope, they keep cashing in. Some ex-politicians rake in pensions that would make even CEOs jealous. In some regions, these post-service benefits have sparked debates about their fairness and the burden on taxpayers. For example, in Graubünden, Switzerland, there was a proposal to provide cantonal officials with annuities until the age of 65, which faced opposition due to concerns about golden parachutes for government members. Similarly, in Sri Lanka, discussions have arisen about the financial and non-financial benefits afforded to politicians, both retired and active, especially in light of economic challenges. The substantial amount of taxpayers' money spent on maintaining the lifestyles of ministers and MPs has been a dispute, with some arguing that these funds could be better allocated elsewhere, while others argue that these are necessary to attract qualified individuals to public service. But have you ever wondered how some politicians seem to be rolling beyond their official paychecks? But the story doesn't end with official perks. Politicians often interact with lobbyists, aiming to influence policy decisions. This influence can come in various forms, such as campaign donations, luxurious trips, or other perks. For example, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, the UK's Commons Speaker, was criticised for granting a parliamentary pass to Albert Poggio, a former lobbyist for Gibraltar. This pass provided Poggio access to various areas within the Commons, raising concerns about the close ties between politicians and lobbyists. And then there's the revolving door, where politicians jump from public office straight into high-paying corporate jobs. Take Susie Wiles, Trump's incoming chief of staff, who was previously lobbying for private interests. Talk about a convenient career move. This can lead to conflicts of interest, as former officials may leverage their insider knowledge for private gain and raise concerns about potential conflicts in her new role. Additionally, the influence of money in politics has been a topic of concern for many citizens who believe that lobbyists use financial support as a means to buy votes from politicians. Although there is no evidence, these scenarios highlight how some politicians might exploit their positions for financial gain, raising ethical questions and concerns about fairness. Ever wonder how some politicians magically invest in the right stocks at the right time? Almost like they know something we don't. Well, turns out some of them do, and it's called insider trading, a practice that's both illegal and unethical. Shockingly, some politicians have been implicated in such activities. For instance, in 2020, several U.S. senators faced allegations of insider trading after selling stocks following a private briefing on the COVID-19 pandemic. Senator Richard Burr, then chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, sold a significant amount of stock before markets declined, leading to an FBI investigation. Such actions often destroy the public trust and raise questions about the integrity of our institutions. Shouldn't our leaders be held to the highest ethical standards? Now, moving on to the members of Congress, they often claim to determine their own salaries, a practice that has sparked debate over the years. Historically, Congress approved pay raises through standalone legislation and public backlash. For example, in 1817, Congress voted for an annual salary instead of per diem payments, but public outcry led to its repeal, and annual salaries weren't established until 1855. Fun fact, Congress actually gave themselves a system for automatic pay raises. Yep, they basically set their own salaries. The 1989 Ethics Reform Act made sure they get inflation-adjusted raises, unless they choose to reject them, which they have since 2009, probably to avoid public outrage. However, Congress has consistently voted to deny themselves these raises, effectively freezing their pay at $174,000 per year. Recently, discussions have emerged about a potential 3.8% pay raise, which would increase salaries to approximately $180,600. People argue that this adjustment is overdue, considering inflation and the rising cost of living in areas like Washington, D.C. They believe that fair compensation is essential to attract and retain competent public servants. On the flip side, critics question the fairness of lawmakers deciding their own pay and suggest that taxpayers should have a more direct say in these decisions. They argue that in times of economic uncertainty, approving raises for themselves might seem out of touch with the struggles of average Americans. This debate raises important questions about accountability and representation. Should there be an independent body to determine congressional salaries? Or perhaps a system where raises only take effect after the next election, giving voters a chance to voice their opinions? After all, our taxes fund these salaries, and how they're allocated reflects our values and priorities as a society. And honestly, politics seems less like a job and more like a golden ticket to wealth. Sure, politicians get paid well, but their salaries alone don't explain how so many of them enter office as middle-class professionals and leave as millionaires. Like, a government paycheck is solid, but it's not buying a private island kind of money. Yet, somehow, political careers often turn into financial jackpots. So, how does that happen? Take the US, for example. A member of Congress makes around $174,000 a year, which sounds like a good salary. How do so many of them leave office as millionaires? The former President Barack Obama, who was worth about $1.3 million before taking office, and now? He's sitting on a $70 million fortune. Of course, some of that comes from book deals and speaking gigs, but let's not pretend political connections don't open doors to insanely profitable opportunities. And it's not just in America. Bangladesh's former land minister, Saifuzzaman Chowdhury, accumulated nearly $300 million in properties while in office. I don't know about you, but unless he had some next-level investment strategy, that doesn't exactly scream public servant. So, are politicians public servants, or elite power players in a rigged system? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.